Look, I would have loved to have more days to shoot, more resources, but at the end of the day, it's the movie we wanted to make. It was hard, as indie films to do.
Well, thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's such a wonderful film. Ryan and Anna, if you were preparing a playlist for somebody going into this film, what music or movies would you recommend they see?
Oh my God, there's so many. So like, I want to answer this, but I need like half an hour and some notes. The playlist, we made actual separate playlists for Clint's character and for Jay's character and for the punks as well. You guys didn't really need a playlist because you were the music. And then the movies, Anna, I mean, the movies on this, the references are Repo Man and Scanners and The Last Dragon and Enter the Dragon, and just all the movies that I loved in the 80s on VHS. And shout out some more, like Abel Ferrara films from the 70s and 80s.
Big Trouble in Little China. No?
No. For a more nuanced portrait of San Francisco's Chinatown, I recommend China's Missing.
That's correct.
That was good.
Yeah, John Carpenter, for sure. No, I was just giving you a funny face.
Oh man, I got so scared.
No,
for a
yeah,
second.
John Carpenter,
I
for
was
sure.
like, I could have sworn we talked about Big Trouble in Little China.
So for the cast, how did you all get into the mindset of 1980s Oakland? What kind of research did you do?
They drew up such a world for us. There was such a beautiful, like, visual pitch deck, number one. And as he said, they sent us playlists that contributed so much to the atmosphere and also just being in Oakland.
In Oakland, yeah.
It was like the perfect set. There was little left to the imagination. You would sort of step into so much was sort of visually preserved, and it felt like you were in the world because of the city that we were in. It took care of that in a lot of ways, just being there physically. And then, I mean, I'm older than all y'all. I grew up with all those movies like on repeat on cable, watching them way before I should have. So I was like, I understood it right away. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen those movies.
I think for me there was also this thing, it was twofold for me. I had a little bit of help because I played Eric Sleepy Floyd, who's based off of, obviously, a real human who played in the WNBA and was a phenomenal basketball player. And so, like, that was easy, right? I got to watch games, I got to watch interviews, I got to, like, lean into a lot of that. But I think on the other side, I think between, like, the playlist, there was something about the playlist that made me realize how, I think we take for granted how much culturally Oakland has actually given this country. Like, there's so much there in music, in movies, in sports. And so, like, even just reliving, like, from Bash Brothers to, like, Too Short and E40 to, like, there was just so much that was happening that in my mind where I was like, oh, this is, to Pedro's point, once we were, like, on the ground, it almost all, like, it was there, it like built itself, and all of a sudden you could see 1987 Oakland, and you could see the culture, like just like how much creativity was like bubbling there at that time.
I think I also, like, we got to go to the Real Gilman, which is like this punk like venue kind of place, and they still haven't, like, it hasn't been remodified or anything for, you know, since it opened, so you can still see, like, you know, spray paints that says, like, we hate Reagan, and all these, like, 80s stuff all over the place, and, like, these old TVs that are, like, up on the ceiling and crashed, and, you know, so it felt like we were almost like in a time machine, and it was so cool and helped me get into the character in the time period.
Yeah, going to Gilman was great. I have some family members who grew up being punks in the 80s. So they sent me, like, paragraphs on paragraphs of books to read, movies to watch, albums to listen to, and kind of gave me a whole history lesson. So I had a ton of resources for research. And then finding the voice and the body language was big for me. I think Tina as a character is super powerful and super, like, confident and comfortable in her skin. So a lot of that was finding that internal power in me, and seeing if I could draw that out and building the voice and the way she sounds. Which was also really fun, and we had decided that we wanted Tina to come from an immigrant background, and we wanted her to speak Korean at home, so that her English is really learned from her classmates and from her community and the music of the sound of Oakland speech.
I would definitely say that Oakland, to your point, Jay, like I didn't know how much influence musically, because I am a musician, so it was like me being a kid in a candy store. Like I just feel like being re-educated on how much Oakland has influenced, especially at the time in the 80s, especially during like hip hop. And I think that it also helped that one of our castmates, Jordan, he's great. He's actually from Oakland, and we spent some time prior to shooting, and he kind of just took us around to just really, get engulfed in the culture. Like we went to certain venues. I know we went to go see a concert, so that really helped a lot. And then just being with the people and having that camaraderie, I think really helped.
I think that's definitely the thing that stuck with me the most was when Jordan will take us around Oakland to this clothing store, for example, that was run by like an 80s OG who used to host like ciphers at this place that is now a shop. And that place sort of now is well respected in the community for sure, but it's also kind of looked at as a place where artists would kind of get their start, find their footing. They'd scrape together what money they could to like help them record their first deal. And I think even just like you're saying, stepping into spaces like that and seeing how much reverence the folks in Oakland currently have for that history and that legacy, and then to see a concert of like a present day artist who's attempting, or not attempting, I should say, who is continuing that legacy. It really just stepping into the world with all that information, it really just seals the deal, and really Ryan and Anna teed us up perfectly to just pour all of that onto the screen.
Ryan and Anna, your last film was Captain Marvel, and you've returned to the independent filmmaking world. What was it like to go back to the independent film world?
It was great to come back to the independent film world in a lot of ways. It felt really natural because we were telling a story that, a story that was very personal, specifically for Ryan, a story that he's been trying to tell since he was like 10 years old. But at the same time, it felt like we had all of these tools that we'd learned from making Captain Marvel, from the stunts and the action, the visual effects, that we would be able to like bring into like a much more intimate way of telling a story, a much more intimate crew, much more intimate kind of set environment with our cast. And having fewer resources and less money is always challenging. Fewer days, less time. That's always challenging, but there's also something like really beautiful about like bringing all these people together who are just like hustling to get the same thing done. And again, like that intimacy of being on a small set and just having that like one-on-one relationship is really incredible. And it felt like a story that we're all really excited to tell in this like moment when, at least for me, it felt like this moment when like there's so much like division, like we can all just like get together and like get excited about this story of like people coming together, and this like wish fulfillment story about these underdogs just being able to like bash the bully. And there's something fun about that in this like very non-didactic story that's just kind of like popcorn and pulpy and fun to be able to explore those themes in these 4 different wild, different, crazy stories. And yeah, I don't know, I had a really good time. Did you enjoy coming back to indie filmmaking?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would have loved to have more days to shoot, more resources, but at the end of the day, it's the movie we wanted to make. It was hard, as indie films should be, and we got the music we needed. All the music I loved is in the movie. Fucking hit that mic again. Sorry. But yeah, I'm very happy with how the movie turned out, and happy to make indie films again.
I would not spoil this for the world, but I wonder how difficult was it to get that cameo, and what was the reaction among the rest of the cast when you found out about that?
That cameo that you're speaking of is we made a show called Masters of the Air in London with Gary Getzman, Tom Hanks, and Steven Spielberg. And so Gary Getzman was able to introduce us to that cameo. Through that experience, and because that person is from Oakland, you know, it was like the movie's filled with those cameos from those special people, and of course, you know, we were just thrilled to have him show up on day 2 of shooting and just hang out with all of us. It was great.
I'm thrilled to have him too. I didn't even get to meet him, but I'm thrilled.
I was heartbroken because I was flying in from a different shoot the day that cameo was being filmed, and I came maybe like an hour or two too late.
I think I was the same. I think we came like at the same time,
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, yeah, the day, my first day was the day he
Heartbreaking.
left. Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
We're all talking about when Ricky Henderson visited.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right.
That we're on the same page.
Yeah.
This film is dedicated to Angus Cloud, and I just wonder what Angus was like to work with on the shoot.
It's a dream.
Lovely.
He's just a dream.
The kindest, like very thoughtful. Like he would walk and be like, "Hey, you good? You need anything?" Like he was. Just think of us in the green room that day, and like
Observing everything that was going on, like as far as the function of the set, but also observing how everyone was doing.
Yeah.
You know, through a night shoot. He's sort of somebody that breaks your heart before you even lose him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's that really, really,
Yeah.
really kind person.
As our signage might have revealed, we're sponsored by Audible, and we have a question here. This year marks the 40th anniversary of the Sundance Film Festival. Over these past 40 years, we've seen the expansion of storytelling through new mediums, with formats and distribution platforms still evolving. What do you see for the future of audio storytelling?
You're looking at Jay, right?
Or anyone?
Audio storytelling.
I got lost.
Yeah. Can you repeat that?
Yes, in this novelistic question. So it's the 40th anniversary of the Sundance Film Festival. Basically, what do you see as the future of audio storytelling?
Audio storytelling.
Yeah,
Like without pictures?
exactly.
No visuals.
Like
I mean, it's
podcasting.
obviously very big. I've listened to NPR my whole life, and now everyone talks about podcasts, and there are all these different mediums of, like, you know, audio books and true crime and different forms of journalism and storytelling and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. I think it's just going to keep on expanding while we still make movies.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so
Music
much.
videos.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.